Good morning. Today we are continuing on with what we had started last week with those opposite operations and solving for those variables. Last objective, we solved an equation with addition or subtraction. This time we are solving the equation with multiplication or division. So like the last objective, there are different methods we can use to solve these, right? Remember, when it's simpler problems, we can do things like ask that logic question, or we can do the fact families, or we can do opposite operations. So for these first few objectives, we can use any of those methods. Remember, in the future, we are going to narrow it down to opposite operations. So we are practicing using those so we get comfortable with it, because it is coming that that's going to be what we're going to focus on. So solving an equation with multiplication or division is similar to addition or subtraction. So it's very similar to our last objective. We're just using different operations. We're going to walk through those three methods using our example of 6n equals 30. So the first method is asking that logic question. 6n equals 30, so the question would be 6 times what number equals 30? Right, that's the logical question to ask. 6 times what equals 30? So who could answer that question? 6 times what equals 30? Gigi? 5. Right? Because we know our math facts. Doing the fact family, we have that 6 times n equals 30. Remember, with multiplication, you can flip it. N times 6 equals 30. Or we're going to do the opposite. Excuse me, ladies, you need to stop. Do the opposite of multiplying. We take that big number and we're dividing it. 30 divided by n equals 6, or 30 divided by 6 equals n. Which one is going to help us solve for n the best? Which one is the best one? Michael?
30 divided by 6 equals n.
Yeah. So 30 divided by 6, we know is 5. So 5 equals n. Same answer. Different way that we went about getting it, but we're getting the same answer. Right? Different methods. Then we have that opposite operations. The opposite of multiplying, because here we have that 6n equals 5. We know invisible math, it's 6 times n. What's the opposite of multiplying? Michael? Dividing. So just like when we were adding or subtracting, doing the opposite, whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do to the other side. Now the whole thing we want to do is get n by itself. So if I did 6 instead of times, I do divide. What is 6 divided by 6? Jeff? 1. 1. So I would have 1 times n. What is 1 times any number? It's going to be that number, right? Anything times 1 is just itself. So part of that invisible math, we know if a number is right next to a letter, we know it's multiplying. If there is that variable, that letter by itself, we know that it's a 1 in front of it. 1n. We don't have to put the 1. We just know that there's a 1 there. It's invisible math. Because 1 times a number is still just going to be the number. We don't have to write it. So then over here, we have 5 divided by 6. Sorry, not 5. Oh my goodness, that's why it wasn't making sense. Our equation, 6n equals 30. Whew. I was wondering in my head why that wasn't going to give me a whole number. That's why. Our equation, 6n equals 30. That is our equation. So we had 6 divided by 6 gives us 1n, so just n. 30 divided by 6 gives us
5.
that same 5. So no matter which method we used, we got our answer was 5. Okay? So we're going to practice using all 3 methods. You don't have to use the same one every time, but on the bottom of the page, we're going to practice those 3 methods. And then just like our last objective, we're going to pick and choose which method to use to solve. But we are all doing this front side together, so we get a good understanding of all 3 methods. So no matter which method you use, you can check your answer by plugging that answer back into the original equation. Does one side truly equal the other side? If the equation is true, you are correct. Your answer is correct. So an easy way to check. So let's look at what 8n equals 56. What's one of the methods that we could use for 8n equals 56? Jackson.
8 times what number equals 56?
Yeah, we could write that logic question. 8 times what number equals 56? Who knows their math facts? Who can give me an answer? Presley. 7. What's another method we could use? Vinny?
56 divided by 8.
We could use those math facts, the fact families. 56 divided by 8 equals n. And then we know 56 divided by 8 is 7. So you write out your fact family, and then you answer it. Now we're going to try that opposite operation. So I'm going to rewrite our equation. 8n equals 56. Using opposite operations, what am I going to do? If it's 8n, what operation is happening in that equation? Times, right? Remember there's a multiplication there. We're doing opposite operations, so what do I have to do if it's opposite of multiplying? Audrey? Divide. If I was multiplying by 8, now I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. Notice how I'm setting it up right underneath the equation. So I can say 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times n is just n. That's what I'm working down to, n by itself. What does n equal? 56 divided by 8 is 7. Look at that. I got n equals 7 for all 3 methods. Now I'm going to check my work. How do I check my work? Michael?
Go backwards.
Not go backwards.
Do it backwards.
Not do it backwards. Jeff?
Kind of like plug it back into your equation.
I'm going to plug 7 in for n. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say 8 times 7 equals 56. 8 times 7 is 56. Does 56 actually equal 56? Yes, that is a true equation. 56 truly does equal 56. If I had gotten 8 for an answer and I did my math wrong, and I did 8 times 8 equals 56, and then I put in my calculator 8 times 8 and I got 64, does 64 equal 56? Nope. That's when I go, oh, wait a minute. One side doesn't equal the other side. Oops, where did I go wrong? And then you go back to see where you made a mistake. The reason we check it and we put this side into our calculators to make sure we're doing it correctly. Let's look at our next one. N over 8 equals 4. First thing we have to ask ourselves is what operation does that fraction bar mean, Alex?
Division.
Division. So remember, when we see that fraction bar, we can make that division symbol. Okay. So first thing you have to do is figure out what operation is happening. Now we can start looking at our methods. Who can give me a method to solve this? Jack?
8 divided by a number equals 4.
Careful. When we have a fraction, what do we always put as our first number?
The one on the
The one on
yeah,
the
the one on
top.
the top.
Okay, so reword that for me.
A number divided by 8 equals 4.
So instead of putting it as a statement, that would be that verbal phrase, we want to put it as a question. So what question would we say? Instead of a number, we would say,
At what number divided by 8 equals 4?
perfect. What number divided by 8 equals 4? Who knows their math facts? What number divided by 8 is going to equal 4? Jackson? What number divided by 8 is going to equal 4? So our number is going to be big. And we're going to divide it by 8 to go all the way down to 4. Alex? 32. So it's a very, very common mistake that you made, Jackson. A lot of times people see the 8 and the 4 and they just divide each other. Oh, 8 divided by 4 is 2. But if we plug that 2 in, back into our equation, is 2 divided by 8 4? No, 2 divided by 8 would be 1/4. Very different number. Okay? So be careful and make sure you catch those super easy to make mistakes when we check our answers. All right, so that's our logic question. What's another method we could do? Haley?
4 times 8 equals 8.
We can do that fact family. 4 times 8 equals n. What is 4 times 8? It is 32 equals n. I plug that 32 in there. 32 divided by 8 is 4. And our last one is that opposite operation. So, if we know that that fraction bar means divide, what's the opposite of dividing, Michael?
Multiplication.
Multiplying. So we want to multiply both sides by 8. If we multiply both sides by 8, 8 times n would be 8n over 8, and then we simplify it down. We can divide 8 out of there, right? 8n over 8, divide the 8 out, and that's how we're left with just n. So we multiply it by 8, and then simplify it down to just be n. On this side, we have 4 times 8, which we know is 32. We plug that 32 in for n. 32 over 8 equals 4. 32 divided by 8 is 4 equals 4. We know we have a true equation. Last one. 7n equals 63. Who can give me a method to solve that? Vinny?
You can do, I was stretching, but you can do 63 divided by 7.
Yeah, we can do that fact family. 63 divided by 7 equals 9. What is 63 divided by 7? Jack?
9?
Oh, and I think I said 9 instead of n.
Yeah.
I was just already jumping ahead doing that math in my head. 9, n, they both start with that, yeah. So, that is our fact family. What's another method? Matt? 7 times what number equals 63? So we're going to ask that logic question. Knowing our math facts, 7 times 9 equals 63, right? So we asked that logic question. Now we have to do the opposite operations. So our equation is 7n equals 63. What operation is happening with 7n? It's an invisible math. What operation is it, Moses?
7 times n.
Yeah, we know it means multiply. What is the opposite of multiplying? Vinny? Divide. So if we're multiplying by 7, now we want to divide by 7. Sometimes I use that division symbol. Sometimes I use the fraction because I know division and fractions both mean divide. Right? So sometimes I just like to say divide by 7. 7 over 7, simplify that down, and it is 1. And in invisible math, we don't have to put the 1 in front. If you do put a 1 in front, is it going to be wrong? No. Just like if you put the multiplication symbol in there between the 7 and the n, I'm not going to count it wrong. We just need to know proper math. As you get older, you need to understand these invisible maths and make sure you know what they mean. So 7 divided by 7 is 1, so we have n equals 63 divided by 7 is 9. We got that same answer for each method. I go up here and I plug that 9 in for n. 7 times 9 is 63. 63 truly does equal 63. Now, when I do the checking and I say 7 times 9, I'm not just going to say in my head, oh yeah, that equals 63. I'm actually going to check it with my calculator. 7 times 9 on the calculator. Make sure you're doing your math correctly. Sometimes we get the math fact wrong in our head down here. And if we don't check with our calculator up here, we're going to get it wrong again. Right? So when you're checking your problem, use your calculator to check it. That way we catch when we make those simple mistakes. Any questions on any of these methods? Okay, let's look at our work page. Using your favorite method from above, show your work, and show how you checked your answer. So you can use any of the methods for any of the problems. You can use multiple methods. You can try to challenge yourself with those opposite operations. You could write out the question, write the fact family. Whichever method, you have to show your work. So I can see what method you used to get your answer and show that you're checking your answer. 63 divided, or 7 times 9 truly does equal 63. Show that both sides of the equation balance out. Okay? Remembering that that fraction bar means divide, that the number right next to the variable means multiply. Don't forget how to work with negative numbers. 2 negatives multiplied together equals a what? A positive times a negative equals a what? So those multiplying by negatives, those rules really truly matter. Just like when we're adding and subtracting with the negatives, some of us went, oh, wait a minute. It's been a while since we've done that. Who can refresh our memories? If we multiply same signs, whether they're positive or negative, what is your answer going to be, Joy? Positive. So whether they're both positive or they're both negative, your answer will be positive. If we're multiplying different signs, a positive and a negative, what is your answer going to be, Fernanda?
Negative.
Negative. You need to remember those. Write it down if you are going to forget. As a reminder, you can have stuff like that on your help sheet to help you on the test. On the bottom, it says using multiplication and division each once, write 2 equations. So 4 equations total that each have a variable with a value of 8. Just like with our adding and subtracting, that variable needs to be in part. So if the value is 8, I am going to multiply with the 8 or divide with that 8. I'm going to write two different equations, one time multiplying it, one time dividing it. So what is a multiplication sentence that uses an 8? Who can give me a multiplication fact using 8? Michael.
56 divided by n equals 7.
So remember, just use the 8 to start with. 56 divided by 8 equals 7. Then go back, take out that 8 and put in your variable. Okay, that is a division set. We don't want it to equal 8 on the end. We want it to be in the middle, in the equation. Then we can use that same fact family to make a multiplication sentence. What would our multiplication sentence be with this? Using the same numbers. How can I use it to multiply, Matt?
7 divided by
Not dividing, I want to flip it to multiplying now. So instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply 8 times what? Using these same numbers. Biddy?
8 times 7
Equals 56, right? Using the exact same numbers, I'm just flipping it to multiplying. Now, I'm going to replace that 8 with my n. So I have one multiplying, one dividing, both of them using n that equals 8 in the middle. So I could say n times 7, if I wanted to do proper math. Anybody know what that would look like as proper math? Presley? 7n equals 56 is the exact same thing. It's just proper, right? 7 times n, n times 7. They both equal 56. This is how we will see it in our book. This is how we will see it on tests. They are both correct. Okay? They both mean the exact same thing. You need to come up with another set. I gave one. You need to do it again. 2 more equations, one multiplying, one dividing, where n equals 8. So write a division sentence with an 8 in it. Take the 8 out and put the n in it. Needs to be on the work side, not the equal side. I don't want it to equal n. Notice how n is over here. Okay, so your 8 should be over here. A number divided by 8 equals this. A number times 8 equals this. Okay? Any questions on today's math? All right, calmly and quietly, you can be working on this. When you finish this page, you are working on Khan Academy, working on that math packet. If you are finished with both Khan and your math, you can quietly work on another class of work. Social Studies History Day, your poster, something for Mrs. White, but it must be quiet and calm as people are working. If you are watching this at home, I hope you are well, and I hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.